You have organizations that are want to be aligned with, let's say, some social impact issues and so on, but also make sure that they're still holding true to their original traditional core values, right? What are some ways essentially that these B2B brands can sort of loosen up a little bit and unloosen the tie, if you will?
I grew up in a small town in northeast Nebraska, like really small, less than 1,000 people, farming community. And one of our big contentious conversations, even as kids growing up, is, are you green or are you red? And green meant John Deere and red meant International Harvester. So we were like definitely brand loyal, like people, green or red, green or red. So I grew up in a green family, John Deere. And I think John Deere has done an amazing job throughout history. I mean, they're one of the icons in the content marketing world. But I think how they've been able to tell a story and remain relevant is so beautiful. And I know like our farm has been in our family for over 100 years. And one of the campaigns that John Deere has is about your land tells a story. And so it can be like, for me, that emotionally connected with me because I think about my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, and my brother used to farm. And looking at that about the land tells a story from a very emotional perspective for me. And there's an incredible connection between farmers and the land that isn't just about how much is it going to produce. But I think also then with John Deere, it's a beautiful way to talk about how they can help your land tell the story because of all of the technology and the equipment. But if they would have led with all of the details about how their new technology can give you like incredibly detailed information about the production of each square foot, inside the area that you're farming, nobody would have paid attention. But when you start talking about what does the story that the land tells and creating some of these very big emotional type of conversations, it's really beautiful. And then looking at how they talk about the ability to farm forward, we look at sustainability and climate change and the impact of farming and how do we feed a world. And I think it's a nice way that John Deere has been able to elevate itself into a conversation where if they just stuck with that traditional B2B product, and here's what it does and can do, they would not have been able to connect and be relevant, I think, especially relevant forward as they are right now.
I'm glad you mentioned the Team Green, Team Red, 'cause I was on Team Green. I grew up on a farm too. Yeah, and I know we had
farm kids. That's awesome.
Yeah, we had a big giant combine that was definitely John Deere. And this is long before I ever knew that John Deere was like one of the first content marketing stories, right? And I refer to that because they did what I call today adjacent marketing. In other words, you find topics that are adjacent to what you sell, but not what you sell. So if John Deere talks about the weather, every farmer cares about the weather. You can do that and get your full audience's attention without ever talking about a tractor. So whatever you sell, the adjacent content, if you are selling kids' shoes and you talk about playground safety, who cares about playground safety? People with kids, and the kids have shoes. So the best content marketing is adjacent marketing, and John Deere was a good example of that.